All right, thanks for coming out to Hamilton Comic Con. This is the Power Ranger panel. We're a little late, sorry for that. All right, so to my right, we have Steve Cardenas, who played Rocky, the Red Ranger and Blue Steel Ranger. Next to we have Austin St. John, played Jake Steel, the Red Ranger and Gold Steel Ranger. Next to we have Walter Jones, who played Zack, and then we have Robert Axelrod, who played Lord Zed.
He actually snuck up on me. I didn't even see him get in there.
Alright, so should we just open up to questions?
Yeah.
Can we get sound on Walter's mic?
Yes.
Hello. Alright, so we're sharing.
There we go.
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Wow, that's it's good to see you guys. Man, I gotta say, I'm so happy to be here at Hamilton Comic Con. You guys are giving us so much love. Man, I mean, if I knew we had so many fans down here, I'd have been out here last year or the year before, like 20 years ago, something. I mean, we gotta come back. We're getting so much love, and we appreciate you guys. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can take this time to open up questions. I'm sure you guys have questions about, our experiences on the show or, things like that. So we're definitely open to that. But if you want a question, come up here and to make a line. Yeah, so like everybody just come right up to the front in the middle here, start a line, make it nice and orderly fashion, figure things out. Yeah, that way. No worries. Alrighty, first in line.
This is for all of you guys. Who is your
Testing, 1, 2,
favorite?
hey, there it is. Oh, gorgeous. This microphone is broken.
I'd like to know who your favorite villains are.
The question was, who is our favorite villains? Well, I mean, come on. You gotta give it to the old school for sure. I'm saying, Lord Zed, I think, was probably just the baddest dude around. I mean, he had blood coursing through his veins. It was all red. And he was kind of mean. And he had this voice that sounds something like, something like that. Exactly. Now, lower punks are going to come under my spell. Yeah, I gotta say, I gotta give it to the old school, but some of the other monsters that I thought were pretty interesting, at least, were like Eye Guy, Porky Pig.
Pudgy Pig.
Porky, Pudgy. Did you see everything he ate? He was pudgy, I'm telling you. The one that always stands out to me was, like, I think there must have been a moment in writer's dialogue where they were running out of things to turn into monsters. So somebody came up with the idea, let's turn a purse into a monster. And I remember when I was doing the ADR for that episode, looking at it, I was like, is this for real? Like, even for our show, is this for real? It's a purse, man. Can we draw a line on something, please? But Goldar, y'all know I spent a lot of time fighting with Goldar. So there's a couple from you.
No. The most ruthless one of all was the pachinko machine. But Rocky just wants to have fun. Remember that one? No, actually, one of my favorite characters was Ivan Ooze. I thought he was really cool from the movie. He was pretty villainous.
Next question. Hi, my name is Steven, and I have actually a two-part question. So the first part is for all of you. Do you guys have any creative control on the show? And the second part is for Austin specifically. How did you feel personally when you didn't, like, you were taken from being the leader to a regular ranger, and do you feel that contributed to the second and third season not being so great as the first?
Creative control. Yeah, somewhat. In the studio, I was allowed to change lines. If the new writer came on and we wrote something that was about something I was able to change it. So, time. Because sometimes the guy who was in the suit would say the lines way too fast. And I'd have less time to do a whole crap load of dialogue in this amount of time. So we have to edit down the dialogue to its essentials. So there was that call of freedom. Anyway, that's what happened.
Yeah, we had a little bit of creative control in the sense that, like he said, we had a director that came on that was new, and he said, okay, so this is going to happen here, and the players are coming, and so Kimberly or Trina is going to jump ahead. I was like, no, Zach would never let that happen. I would always jump ahead. So then he'd be like, okay, all right, well, Zach's going to go here, and because, you know, my character was protector. He was like, you know, I got your back right away. So that kind of stuff. And as far as lines are concerned, we didn't really change lines sometimes. They write something for me that was weird. They'd be like, can I say this? Can I say that? But as the show grew, we were the masters of our character. In the beginning, the writers wrote what they wrote, and we acted what they wrote, and later they wrote for the characters. Do you know what I mean?
I think that really about sums it up. I remember the very first few episodes I had Pineapple the Clown. I hated that guy. And to this day I had one line during that episode where I had to come right around the corner with the rest of the Rangers, and it was, with all seriousness, I was 18. It's impossible to be serious for me at 18, even today sometimes. And I come right around the corner, I'm like, you're going down, clown. And like 100 times I was cracking up, I was laughing, I was like, can we please change this? And they were like, no. So that was then, and then 50 episodes later, #1 around the world, things were blowing up, and I was like, I'm not saying that. Let's do it this way. And they were like, okay. So it changed, just like you said.
Hey, the only time that I felt like we really had creative control is when we got to do our plainclothes fight scenes. You know, they really let us choreograph our own stuff. You know, they didn't. The stunt guy or the stunt coordinator didn't really, you know, put a lot of insight into it because they were just like, you know, this is your chance to show what you specialize in the most. So I really appreciated that. I liked doing that. So that's about the only creative control that I remember having. Everything else was, you know, whatever the script said. And they had a question for you, right?
What was your question?
How did you feel personally when they downgraded you from being a leader to a regular ranger? And do you think that impacted second and third season not being as good as the first?
Well, #1, as far as an impact in second and third seasons, I wouldn't say that any one ranger coming or going is going to have an effect on the entire show. There's too many of you to allow that, #1. You guys all love the show. You all have favorites. So one guy coming and going, I was one of a team. And that's all I'll ever be, one of many. Now there's like 100 of us. I don't even know. So it's like one of even many more now. So its impact on the show, I think, is up to each of you individually in your heart, how it affected you. The show carried on, and the show's carried on after every other ranger has come and gone. And that's because of you. That's what the show does. So my impact, man, I was grateful to be there. I loved every second of doing what I did for each of you. And thank you for sharing your time with me.
Hi, my question is for Austin. Are the rumors true that you're going to be joining the new Power Ranger season?
No. There's so many rumors going around on the web, like sometimes I have an identity crisis. Who am I and what am I really doing? I don't even know where I'm supposed to be. I have no new contracts with Saban in any form, period. I know that they are, I have had conversations with production. I have spoken with Saban Brands, and I think the best I can tell you is that they're happy I'm back from the Middle East. And the last words to me by an executive were, let's see what the future holds. And that really is all I can tell you.
But you would be interested in coming back?
I think so. Right now I have 3 other movies in the works. I'm hoping to start shooting in January. I think they're planning to shoot in 2016, but I also hear that the script is still being written. So You know, if my schedule is free and the opportunity is right, of course I would love to be a part of it for you guys.
I got two questions as well. First of all, my name is Gordon, and I grew up a huge fan of the Power Rangers and the Transformers. So now, my first question is for Robert Axelrod. What was your reaction when you found out you were going to be on the Transformers? And now, for you, Austin, I want to know what your reaction was when you found out they were going to do a Forever Red episode.
Well, I always like getting work. So when I heard that Transformers were coming around, I said, oh, that's great. I always wanted to be part of that show. And I had a good role to work with. The writing was terrific. And so I moved right in with it. Yes, there it is. Thanks for asking.
Number one, I was kind of blown away, you know, the Forever Red, I don't know, 02, 06, it was way back. I thought it was a pretty cool concept. I wasn't sure. At the time I was working as a medic, I was teaching, I was all over medicine. I was getting involved in tactical medical operations. I was, 09, I did a lot of training. I got real heavy into other training with the military, and I had all these things built in my head. I was working on another career, so I didn't know that I wanted initially to walk away from that to go do the show. And then I got to talking with friends and family, and they were like, you know what, it's a reunion episode. And then I found out who all was going to be in it. And then I found out that at the time, I think there was like 11 or maybe 20. There had been a lot of Red Rangers. This was the last Red Ranger that I knew. Well, and I knew Tommy had gone on to be Red. But that was like the end of what I knew of Red Rangers. I was like, how many have there been? Like 6 or 7? And I was thinking that was big. I was so wrong. It was 356. And so it was really cool. And at that point, I was like, really, 10, 11? Man, I got to see this. All right, let's go do it. And so it was cool.
All right, so for future questions, we're just going to do one because we only have so many people and so much time. So one question per person. Thanks.
Can you move?
Sorry to come back to rumors.
Can you move Austin's mic down a little bit? Move the mic stand, yeah. Move that one over a little bit.
Trying to take photos?
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry to come back to rumors. I had heard a rumor that at one point,
Speak into the microphone directly.
sort of go back to rumors. I had heard a rumor that at one point during filming, the whole team had gone in costume to McDonald's for lunch. And I don't know if that is true, if it is, and if it isn't, but if it is, if you could tell us a bit about it.
You said they went to McDonald's? That was the rumor?
But in costume.
Oh, in costume. No, I think I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but like whenever the helmet is on, a lot of times that wasn't us because we'd be like filming something at the same time that they might be doing appearances or doing the fight scenes and things like that. We were able to get more episodes done that way. So if the whole team went to McDonald's with their masks on and stuff, that definitely was not us. Yeah.
That would have been That would have been funny. That would have been fun.
How are they gonna eat though?
And when you get your money, you're like, hold on, I gotta.
Everybody reach in their boot. I learned that from Comic-Con. Everybody reaches in their boot with their suit on.
Sorry, I'm a little sweaty. Sorry about that dollar there.
Yeah.
Hi guys. Other than your own character, who's your favorite Power Ranger?
Trini, Yellow Ranger.
I like Trini too.
I like Goldar, and actually I like Zach too. Zach was a fun character. With his hip hop keto, you know, that was just too fun.
Alright, so I liked, obviously I liked the Black Ranger, the Black Ranger's cool, and I liked the second Black Ranger, and then I liked the third Black Ranger. I like the Black Ranger. But I love the Yellow Ranger, obviously. But I gotta say that I think the best written Ranger of all time was the Green Ranger. Because he got to be so many different things, like green, and he got to be, he had his own Zord, and the Dragon Zord, and a flute, and the whole thing. So, as far as like, if I wish I could have been, if I wish my Ranger could have been written like any other Ranger, it'd probably be the Green Ranger because he got to do so many cool things.
Thank you.
Each of you, which is the favorite scene that you were in, that you remember the most?
I like the scenes when I first appeared. That's good. That's a good scene. I have that on DVD. I'll show it at panels.
Let's see, favorite scene. That's a whole lot of scenes. You know what, the things that I enjoyed doing the most were the fights. Really did love doing the fights. I mean, we did, with Hip Hop Keto, I had the opportunity to do a lot of cool, different things, and I was motivated by Jackie Chan a lot, so there was one fight where I was working with one of the putties, and I was being chased by a putty, and I jumped up and grabbed a tree, and I flung over the top of the tree and came back down and kicked him in the back. And that was a stunt that we kind of put together, because what he did is, it's really hard to run and swing over a tree and come back down, you know, and what he did was he pushed me in my back, so you couldn't see it, but he gave me a good push, so I jumped up, grabbed him, and he pushed me in my back, and I went up and over, and came back and kicked him in the back, and it looked so effortless, it looked like so cool, nobody could tell what happened, but it was like, that kind of stuff that was really creative and fun those are some of the fun scenes for me. And then I also like the scenes where I got to spar against like Austin and Tommy, like when we would spar together, that stuff was a lot of fun. I love that. It was cool.
I think at the last convention we were at, I only did about 100 episodes in a couple movies, but one of the ones that came to memory when I was with Zach, we had this episode where a spider was supposed to land on his shoulder in a hallway in school. And they told us, they're like, hey, you know, just for the record, the spider, we fed him, he's cool, it's not going to be a problem, and, you know, you'll always know if he's going to attack because the front 2 legs will come up. And we're like, all right, that's cool. And I mean, he wasn't quite as big as my hand, but he was big. Like, big, hairy, tarantula, craziness. And Walter was being mad. It was like, you fell, right? Like, yeah, like 9 crates. Okay, cool. So they bring this thing in, and commonly what would happen is the director would be going through the dialogue, and then he would call freeze. And we'd all be like, in the middle of whatever we were doing. And then he would come in and plop the tarantula down on his shoulder. And then action once the guy got out of the way, and we go back through the scene. Well, Walter's supposed to turn and be like, ah, and like really be scared. Well, Walter did that, and the spider didn't like it. And I'm on the other side of Walter, and I see the legs go up, and I'm like, ooh, yeah. He said that was bad. I think that's bad. And, you know, Walter's like, that's bad, you know? And pretty soon the dude comes in, he's like, scoops it up and runs out of the hallway. And we're both like, whoo. I don't know what it feels like to be bit by a tarantula, but I'm glad he didn't have to find out, because I would have laughed. And anyway, we ended up taking him back to the house, and because we were sharing a house up on the hill in Glendale, and we named him Homie, and he lived in a aquarium in the wall of our house for like 2 years until he died. But he was a cool tarantula.
Thanks guys for coming by. My question's for Steve. I saw a few videos with you and Jason David Frank doing some charity work for the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that you guys do. It's awesome, great job with that. I'm a big fan of that myself, and I just want to ask like a personal question. If you were doing like maybe the Power Rangers or acting in general, because you have such a good focus on it, would you be doing like UFC, prize fighting kind of stuff or that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think if Rocky reprising a role or whatever, I think that he would definitely do some jiu-jitsu and incorporate it into his fight scenes now for sure. Because it's such a big part of my life now. I mean, I love it. It's my favorite sport now out of everything that I've experienced. And so, yeah, I think Rocky would definitely have some jiu-jitsu and some MMA stuff in his fight scenes. Thundercats, ho! Gotta speak into the mic, dear.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Okay. Big fan because of you, I did martial arts, or I danced, or I watched this show because of you. How do you feel about that?
She said, how do you feel when people come to you to say that you inspired them to be a dancer, or a martial artist, or you inspired me not to give up, that kind of thing? I have to say that the biggest gift of being a Power Ranger is the fact that we have motivated and we touched the lives of so many people in a positive way. I mean, there are people in the show is in 40 countries. Canada is one of them, and like I said, we're so happy to be here to see you guys. But can you imagine going to a country where people can't even speak your language and then get the same love from them? You know, it's amazing. It's bizarre that we have had such an effect, and it's what a blessing for us, because I mean, to just be able to say hello to somebody and make their day and put a smile on their face just by being pleasant, which is what we all are anyway, it's incredible.
I think for me, you know, I live on the inside of this guy every day, and I know that I eat, I sleep, I use the restroom, like at least the gentleman in the room, and I see me as a pretty normal guy. I've never thought of me as the man, as the cool dude. So for me, it's kind of hard sometimes to understand the absolute adoration that I see in some of the eyes that are in front of me, because I'm a normal guy. I've made mistakes. I've been in fights. I've been beat. I've had some victories. I'm like each and every one of you. I've had my ups and my downs. So sometimes I struggle with understanding where this love comes from. But at the end of the day, when I hear, you know, I chose not to commit suicide because you inspired me, or not to do drugs, or you or your castmates helped me survive when my mom and dad died in a car accident, there really is no response for that. I don't know what to say to that. There's no easy answer. It's not ready-made. It kind of hits you right about here, and all you can, it's just a wow moment. And I thank each of you for bringing the strength that you bring to your own lives. And I need each of you to know that while we did something that you may have loved or looked up to, the strength that you found in each of you is how each of you got through those moments. And that's what you really need to take away from this. You guys got through all this. We didn't.
Name's Jeremiah. I was 6 years old when the show first premiered at 27, and I will be honest with you guys, from grades 1 through 7, I was always known as the kid who watched Power Rangers. Like I said, I never gave up, and like you said, I will be honest with you guys, I learned a lot more about self-defense, surviving, and fights than I ever did from that silly dojo my parents put me in when I was 8 years old. I learned a lot more from you guys. In fact, to be honest with you, those public service announcements that you guys did in season 1, where that guy did wanted a piece of you, it inspired me to not fight out of anger, frustration, rage, only for defense and to protect myself. And that is why I was able to survive elementary, middle school, thanks to you guys. And that's why Tuesday I'm still a loyal fan. And it was like I started, it was 2 years ago, I played the Japanese course with my sister and the father of her son, and they had the biggest feeling of deja vu ever. Like, oh, that clip was used where Jason defeated Tom and made a spell. And then there's this, oh, they just replaced the Japanese actors and American actors. I even compared the monsters to RPGs and Godzilla movies. But I guess you guys get that all the time. But like I said, every time an episode was on, I would copy off each and every one of your fighting moves, and I would use it to survive school. Like I said, get out and set straight. All right, and like I said, I survived thanks to you guys. So in a way, you need that.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up.
Hi, I'm
Jarrett. As Power Ranger fans, we've been given some really, really exciting news, and that's Power Rangers is coming back on the big screen in about 2 years. Yeah. I just wondered if you guys could shed some light on it, perhaps share your thoughts, what you'd like to see, and maybe what you don't want to see. So, thank you.
I don't have any insight other than the only one thing that I heard is that when they bring those new characters together, one of their ideas is that they were not, like, I guess originally you guys were friends when you first started, right? Yeah, you guys were already all friends and were already like tight-knit as a group, and then Zordon found you. Well, when Zordon recruits this new group of people, they're not friends, and they don't know each other, and they don't know how to get along with each other, and they have to learn how to come together as a group first before they can, do the rest of, defeating the evil that's out there and whatnot. So I thought it was kind of a cool aspect that wasn't in the story before. So that's kind of cool. That's about the only thing I know though.
What was the question?
Well, I just wanted to know if you could shed some light on the new movie, the reboot that's coming out in 2016.
On the new film?
Yeah, new film that's coming out in 2016.
Yeah, I think they're looking very carefully at marketing, and I know Saban is very into marketing. I like to think that the new Lord Drake toy is selling like hotcakes, and maybe they'll notice that and put Lord Drake back in the movie. I know a lot of people like to do that. And that the character is intact, and some of the old Rangers are very popular, as you can see. So,
yeah, I'm interested in what they're going to do with the film. I can't say that I know much about what they're going to do, but I am excited at the fact that the movie's going to bring Power Rangers to an entirely different generation, which is crazy because here we are 21 years later, and look at you guys, man. You guys were little, and now you're big. You guys are all grown up, and you got kids of your own, and it's crazy. And so, just the fact that there's going to be another Power Ranger movie, and it's a reboot based off of the original characters, that's exciting to me. I'm curious about who they're going to get to play us. And I hope we get to do cameo.
Hi, my name's Lynn, and I've been watching Power Rangers since I was in grade 1. And yeah, I noticed when I was younger, I noticed that the Black Ranger was black and the Yellow Ranger was Asian. And back then, as a kid, I thought it kind of made sense. But then I grew up and I kind of realized that maybe somewhat racist. So I guess my question is how do you feel about the color coding and race in the first season?
Alright, so for those of you who don't know, the pilot, actually, the Yellow Ranger was Latina. Ada Dubois. She was the original Yellow Ranger. And then she asked for more money, so she got fired. Which kind of sucks. She's badass. So then we got Tweet, and Tweet was awesome. She was amazing. She was the right character for the role, which she brought to our chemistry as a cast. It made it very cool. As far as I know about the Black Ranger being African American, the way it was explained to me is in the Japanese footage, the Red Ranger and the Black Ranger are often together. So the Red Ranger is the leader, and then the Black Ranger is kind of like the second in charge. And so when you think about the characters, the way they were written, you have the jock, who was the leader. You had the cool guy, who was me, and then you had the nerd, which was Billy. So who's going to be what character? It ended up being the black guy was in the black suit, and I never had a problem with it. It's not prejudice at all. I was a superhero. If I was a villain, if I was still in the suits or something, then they were like, okay, that's prejudice. But I was saving people around the world, and I am a role model in 40 countries. There's nothing prejudice about that.
Oh, wait a minute. You were saying that jock wasn't cool? Did you hear that? We're the jock, and we have the cool guy. I'm just saying. Red Rangers aren't cool?
Well, I mean...
Is that prejudice? I think that's prejudice. I'm just saying.
Hi, my name's Ann, and my question is, what was it like meeting the guy who
like what?
Meeting the guy who replaced you in the show.
Well, you know what? Actually, I think one of my favorite episodes was the one when Austin came back as the Gold Zeo Ranger. And it was like, it was like Bulk and Skull were kind of implying that, hey, Jason's back now, so maybe they don't need you anymore, And my character was like struggling with the dilemma of whether or not, he was even necessary anymore. So that was kind of a fun one, But actually, I met Austin way before that, actually, because even though they were gone at that point, we all still have a lot of mutual friends. So Austin and Walter used to have parties at their house, and so right before the movie came out, I got invited to one of their house parties, and that's where I met these guys for the first time. And so I was kind of nervous actually to meet him, but he was really cool, and he had a lot of advice for me about how to handle being on the series and stuff like that. So it was actually very cool and very helpful. So I gotta say thank you for that. That was awesome. So so that was my first experience meeting them. Was actually at a house party at their house in Glendale. Was it Glendale?
It was fun. It was like, when Austin and I left the show, it wasn't because we were not desired on the show anymore. It was because we were trying to negotiate for a better contract, and in the end, the negotiations went south. So they had to have somebody come and take us, and I thought the people that came over and that took over the roles of the bandit, more or less, I thought they did a great job. Steve was a great Red Ranger, and Johnny Bosch was a great Black Ranger, and Karen Ashley was a great Yellow Ranger. So I think all the people, we started the show, which was amazing. And I think all the following cast that followed us, even until the last cast, like Samurai, I know a bunch of those guys, and Mega Force, I know a lot of those guys. They're all great people, and most of them, they're maintaining the tradition, and I'm grateful for that.
And Steve, what was it like meeting the kid who replaced you? What was it like meeting the kid who replaced you?
Well, I met him on the set, because we had to do all those scenes together and stuff in the movie. I was fine with it because at that point it was my choice to leave. It wasn't like, oh, by the way, you're being replaced. It was like it was my choice to leave the show. So when I left, I didn't really have a choice or care who my successor was. And I'm happy for Blake. He's all grown up now. And he's like bigger than all of us now, but
I'm a fan of Blake's satire.
Yeah, but no, it is fine, No, there's never any animosity toward one another in any way. It never has been.
No
so.
awkwardness.
Huh?
No awkwardness.
No, not at all. Come on.
Thank you.
So I think we have like 5 minutes left.
No, today's record.
All right.
You need 55 minutes left, right?
Yeah.
First of all, thank you guys for being such a big part of my childhood growing up. It made things about these
I can't hear you, man.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah. Thanks for being such a big part of my childhood. Having Billy as being a hero made looking like this a lot easier for where I was growing up, so it was great that it took off. As Power Rangers, a lot of people know, was kind of offshoot of Super Sentai from Japan. So I've always kind of wondered when it comes, how was an average show filmed, and like how much of the show was you guys both in the action and the drama, obviously the drama, but in terms of the action, how much was you guys, how much was extras, how much was Japanese footage, how was it filmed when you filmed an episode?
There's a lot there, and we're kind of running up against our time frame where we have to get ready to get back to our lines so that the next panel can come up. The real short version is that we filmed about, at least in my day, and I think probably even when you came on, it was like 2 to 3 episodes, sometimes 3 episodes in a week. Your average TV show is 1 episode every week, 2 weeks, depending. So we filmed at an incredible pace. And we would usually have 2 to 3 camera units operating simultaneously. If we weren't needed at a camera unit, usually a unit where they had to see our faces, then some of us, at least these 3 right here, I think we all chomped at the bit to go and do our stunts, or to be in the uniform, or to do our fights, or choreograph, because we all love that. But there were a lot of times where we had to be on a unit, and at the same time they were shooting B Unit where they had the costume guy, so somebody else had to be in the costume. It was really quick. It was long hours, especially the first season. So it's a good question. I think maybe we got time for like what, two more questions, and I think we got to get back to our tables.
Hi, everyone. This is for Walter. What was the story behind Hip Hop Keto? Did you come up with that? How did you come up with that? Like, what? Like, where did that come from?
Hip Hop Keto, you talking about this? Well, what it was is when I was auditioned, the character Zachary Taylor, the audition for Zachary Taylor is they wanted somebody that could create hip hop keto. So it wasn't something that had to come out of me. They basically said, well, can you dance? Show us your dancing. So I did some hip hop. And they said, can you flip? Show us flip. So I did backflip, front flip. And can you do martial arts? Show us some martial arts. All right, cool. Now put it all together. And I went, uh-oh. And, you know, I came up with something out of, you know, just being creative, being a dancer and martial artist and knowing gymnastics. And, yeah, I just remember the first episode. It was like, okay, so here I go. This is what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something. So I put out a couple of breakdance moves that I knew and added into some water waving and some martial arts and some flips, and hip-hop keto came alive. But every time I did a fight, it was always a new creative process because I had to figure out why would I do this and how does it make sense and how do I defend myself and why am I dancing? You know, I'm not just dancing just to be like, oh, you're about to hit me, I'm just going to do a move. It's like, okay. I had to make it, exactly. I had to make it about being evasive. So if somebody tried to punch me, I water wave out of the way and then I throw a punch or a kick or whatever and that kind of thing. But that was fun.
Thank you.
Next question.
Quick question. Really loud right next to me.
Sorry.
As a lot of people know, the show is based on a Japanese show called Suicide. I was just wondering if you saw any footage of it, and what was your reaction to see something very different, but, you know, not seeing, you know, costumes and characters and stuff.
The question is, did we see any of the Japanese footage before we were Rangers? I had never seen anything. In fact, I didn't know what it was. I mean, like, the script originally was called Dino Rangers or Phantoms.
The original audition was called Phantoms. Like, there was no Ranger reference in it at all. Then it went, oh yeah, but after that they changed it to Dino something, I don't know. But we had no idea.
Yeah, we had no idea. We didn't see the footage of what the actual Rangers were going to be like so much later. And like, I didn't even know I was going to be a Black Ranger. I just knew I was Zach Taylor, you know?
The last question right here.
That's a great last question for you guys. So you said you had some parties up on Glendale and stuff. So my question is, was there any backstage romances? Specifically Amy Jo.
I think maybe Megan Lord said interesting. Robert said Amy Jo. I think as far as Mrs. What is her last name now?
Miss Appleby?
No, Amy Jo. I heard she got married, but
I think it's still Amy Jo Johnson.
okay. As far as Mrs. Johnson goes, I think you should ask her. I definitely, if I knew something, would not tell it, but I don't. As far as other scenes, yes.
Well, here the thing is, like, you know, it's like we were like brothers and sisters for one, but two, we worked together like 12 hours a day, every day. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like I'm going home, man. I don't want to hang out with you, you know. Like I don't want to, you know, hang out with you offset that much, you know. I mean, we did a lot, but most of the time, you know, we worked together so much on set that we needed, you know, some time away from one another. So I don't really think there was a lot of on-set romance.
Zach, you're pretty quiet over there. Listen, Zach, you're pretty quiet.
You know, I did like Angela. No, there was, as far as, you don't, it's hard to mix business and pleasure. I can't say I had a little bit of a boy crush on Tweeta. I did, the Yellow Ranger. I had a little crush on her, but I would never go past the line. We were just good friends, you know. She was just, I thought she was sweet, she was pretty. She had such pretty hair. I just wanted to touch her hair all the time. But like he said, I mean, you gotta work together, and if anything goes wrong, you know how relationships can be. If there's any stress within a relationship, it will carry over to the work, and that will be horrible. So, I think pretty much everybody kept their nose clean. I think. Right, Austin? Right, Austin? Yeah. Everybody kept their nose clean, Austin?
Never messed around with another cast member. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amazon Comic-Con. Make sure you check them out at their tables right over there. Get some autographs, photos, merchandise. The Power Rangers, everybody.